My name is Brian Larson, and I've known Mike quite a few years. I first met Mike at some point during school year 1964-65 at Allegheny College nearly 60 years ago. I cannot now recall the exact date or circumstance, but whatever the situation, we quickly became friends, which was easy as Mike was one of the most congenial, easygoing, and affable persons I've ever known. For different reasons, Mike and I both took a bit longer than the standard 4 years to fulfill college graduation requirements. Rather than wallow in abject humility, we chose to regard ourselves as, quote, super seniors. In the fall 1966 term, we were both dealing with the dreaded senior thesis, usually at least a full-term project that also involved an oral exam. I needed a place to stay, and Mike generously invited me to become his roommate. This was mutually beneficial in a couple of ways. As it turned out, we had both chosen topics in different periods of African American history, and we were using some of the same source books. For weeks on end, we would hunker down in the dorm room and pass books back and forth while smoking way too many cigarettes and slurping vast quantities of coffee, and then make midnight trips to an all-night diner. It was a real bonding experience. Just a few days after my oral exam, I was in Texas to begin my stint in the U.S. Air Force. This was Vietnam era, some of you may remember that. So we didn't see each other at all for the next 4 years. But we kept in touch, and by the time I got out of the service, Mike and Bobby had married and were living in Lakewood. I made many trips to Cleveland, initially by Greyhound, and then lived with Mike and Bobby for several months while substitute teaching until I found a full-time job and made my permanent move to Cleveland in early 1973. In the years since, we have gathered many times in each other's homes, played many card games and board games, shared many dinners, attended many events, and shared many good times, often with other friends. Games of Acquire, for example. We rejoiced at the birth and growth of our sons. John sat for our kids, and we bought Cutco knives from Ben. Mike and Bobby loved traveling, and my wife, Lori, and I accompanied them on a number of trips, including San Antonio, Europe, Israel, and a cruise in the Caribbean. One of Mike's great passions was singing. He, Bobby, and Lori were members of the Western Reserve Chorale, and one of the best trips we enjoyed together was when the chorale took a week-long trip to the Loire Valley in France, where they performed a concert in a centuries-old cathedral. I was allowed to tag along as a non-singing drudge. And I cannot carry a tune, that's why. We all stayed in a converted priory which had once been used as a way station during the Crusades. Through it all, I have always much appreciated being in Mike's good company. We all have many happy reasons to call Mike to mind. In doing so, we will not dwell on how he experienced diminished cognitive function in his last several years. Rather, we will recall the Mike we knew, Will, for all these many years. A kind, patient, and companionable mensch who was simply a good person to spend time with. That's how I will remember him.
Thank you.
Thank you.